Welcome to the Merits Dependent Care Flexible Spending Account Overview. In this video, I'll be giving you an overview of the Dependent Care Flexible Spending Account, or FSA, we offer to all Merits regular full-time employees, which is administered by WEX Health. The first tip I have to share with you is this. If you do not have any children or don't pay for any daycare expenses for children, a disabled spouse, or elderly parents, do not enroll in this plan. This is not a pre-tax plan for medical expenses for your family members. To be eligible for this type of account, both you and your spouse, if applicable, must work, be looking for work, or be full-time students. The purpose of the Dependent Care FSA account is to allow you to pay for daycare expenses on a pre-tax basis for your children under age 13 who are claimed as a dependent on your tax return, or your disabled spouse or child of any age, or aging parents who live in your home and are unable to take care of themselves. Once you enroll in the Dependent Care FSA, the IRS does not allow you to make any changes to those elections until the following year's open enrollment period, unless you experience a qualified change in the past 31 days, such as a marriage, birth, divorce, etc. This means if you enroll in this plan in error and don't have any eligible expenses for this type of account, or you overestimate your daycare expenses, we would not be able to cancel your elections or refund any payroll deductions already paid into the account. And since you wouldn't have any eligible expenses to submit in order to be reimbursed for the amounts you paid in, you would forfeit those dollars at the end of the plan year. This is a use it or lose it plan, and the IRS requires all unreimbursed funds remaining in the account at the end of the plan year to be forfeited. What is eligible daycare? Eligible care includes a daycare facility, school before and after care, a nanny or babysitter caring for your children in your home, a babysitter caring for your children in their home, and summer day camps. What is not eligible daycare? You can't claim expenses for costs that you have claimed as a dependent care tax credit on your tax return, or for daycare or babysitting services provided by one of your dependents or family members who also live in your home, expenses for overnight camps or any type of overnight care, expenses paid for school, kindergarten or above. A complete list of eligible expenses and additional details about the Dependent Care FSA can be found on the WEX website at benefitslogin.wexhealth.com. Here's how it works. You elect an annual amount to have deducted from each of your paychecks based on your estimated daycare cost for the year. The maximum amount you can elect per year, which is determined by the IRS, is $5,000 per calendar year. The deductions are taken pre-tax, which helps to lower your taxes withheld, which in turn increases your net pay, instead of you paying for daycare with your regular net paychecks after taxes have been withheld on your full gross pay. As you incur eligible daycare expenses throughout the year, you can submit claims for reimbursement. One of the complaints we hear from those who enroll in the Dependent Care FSA is having to submit documentation to support the expenses in order to be reimbursed, and they are unsure of exactly what documentation is required. WEX makes this process easier through the Recurring Dependent Care Reimbursement Request Form and the Dependent Care Verification Form. You can eliminate the need to submit substantiation throughout the year for dependent care expenses by enrolling in Recurring Dependent Care. This process requires you to submit only one form per year for each daycare provider used during the year. However, this option is only available if you pay more in daycare expenses each month than you pay into your FSA through payroll deductions. If you pay less each month than you pay in out of your paycheck into your FSA, or you have currently contributed more to your plan than you have incurred in expenses, you don't qualify for recurring dependent care and will need to file claims as services are incurred. The recurring dependent care request form can be found in the WEX website. This form must be completed by you as the participant and by your daycare provider, confirming the amount per week that you pay for daycare. A separate form must be completed for each provider if you use more than one. Once you have submitted this form, nothing is needed the rest of the year, unless you change daycare providers, or your cost of daycare for the year will be less than the annual amount you're contributing to the FSA. You will receive automatic reimbursements following each pay period contribution paid into the FSA account without having to file any additional claims. If there are times throughout the year that you miss a week or two of daycare, no worries, as long as you know you will have paid out more in daycare expenses by the end of the year than you have paid into the account through payroll deductions. Just keep all receipts for daycare actually received during the year in case of IRS audit to verify you did pay at least as much for daycare as you were reimbursed. If you don't use the recurring dependent care reimbursement option and your daycare provider accepts credit card payments, you can use your WEX debit card to pay for dependent care expenses directly from your account instead of having to pay out of pocket and filing a claim for reimbursement. You have the convenience of one debit card for all benefits you have through WEX. So if you also have the HSA or commuter benefits with WEX, you would use the same debit card for all three plans. However, please note that you would still need to provide documentation to WEX to verify the daycare expenses being paid with your debit card. Another option to request reimbursement for your dependent care expenses is to file a claim on the WEX website and submit supporting documentation to WEX. Direct deposit is also available for any claim reimbursements you need to have paid directly to you. Supporting documentation for your daycare expenses can be the itemized bill from your daycare provider that includes the name of your daycare provider, the name of your child, dates the care was provided, and the amount. An alternative to getting an itemized bill or receipt from your daycare provider is to print a copy of the dependent care verification form on the WEX website. After filing your dependent care reimbursement claim online, complete this dependent care verification form and have your daycare provider sign where indicated. Submit the completed form to WEX as your supporting documentation for the claim. If you have funds remaining in your account after December 31st, you will have a grace period to incur additional claims during the period of January 1st through March 15th of the next year and submit them for reimbursement to your prior year account balance. However, claims and supporting documentation must be submitted no later than April 30th of the following year. Any funds remaining in your account after April 30th will be forfeited. WEX also has a free mobile app. With the mobile app, you can get instant notifications on the status of claims, upload claim documentation, report a card as lost or stolen, check your account balance and activity, and more. However, if your employment ends prior to December 31st, expenses must be incurred on or before the last day of the month in which your participation or employment ends in order to be eligible for reimbursement. Claims and supporting documents must be submitted by 120 days after your last day of employment or your last day of participation in the plan. Or if April 30th of the following year is prior to 120 days after your last day of employment or participation, then the supporting documents and claims must be submitted by that April 30th date instead. If you still have questions after reviewing this video and the information on the meritsbenefits.com website, call WEX or the Merits Benefits Department at the number shown on the screen or email benefits@merits.com.